Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I'm seriously giving thought to renaming Regulatory Tuesday to Commiefornia Tuesday because it seems almost every week we get something out of California that is just more ridiculous than the last week. And I realistically cannot wrap my head around why the citizenry of California, why the residents, have not taken back their government. Yes, there are a lot of gun laws in California, but there are still plenty of people who owned guns before those gun laws were enacted in the past 12 years. So it might be time to consider the California government as not being the best thing for you if you live in California or if you have family in California. You might want to encourage your family or your friends to start voting against the status quo in California and remove the legislators and senators for your state government that are currently creating this insanity. So let's get right down to the news. In California, starting January 1st, 2018, it will no longer be a felony to knowingly infect a person with HIV without disclosing it. Governor Jerry Brown signed the legislation this past Friday. It lowers the offense from a felony to a misdemeanor. Now, their reasoning for this is because living with HIV is no longer the dangerous thing that it was 30 years ago when the law was passed. It's no longer a death sentence, so we need to become accepting and understanding and stop persecuting people who give other people a lethal sexually transmitted disease. Now, I understand that the transmission rate is far lower if you're on treatment. The fact that you are not disclosing it to your partner means that you are showing malicious will against the person you're having sex with. You are attempting to hide something that is dangerous to their health and forcing them to do something without their consent. Because if they knew you had HIV, then they would change the terms of the sexual activity. This is about sexual assault, people. Not about stigmatizing somebody with a disease. Having sex with someone without disclosing you're positive for a sexually transmitted disease is coercion for sexual relations by the left's own logic. They have stated that you can't consent if you've had a drink of alcohol. Well, you can't consent if your partner isn't telling you that they're HIV positive. Because that right there would basically be them lying to get you into bed. And they want that kind of legislation in place. So why are they supporting legislation that allows people to do that kind of thing? Not only has this happened, but also California has reduced the length of time, quote unquote, minor sex offenders will be on the sex offenders registry. Instead of going through and looking at specific cases, they have carte blanche removed thousands of names from the sex offenders registry because they were deemed as minor offenses. Now, some of these I can understand. Some of these were like public park sex between two homosexual men at night in the 80s and 90s. I can understand removing some of those people. But this was done via legislation to remove large swaths of them. And it doesn't appear to give any indication as to whether or not plea agreements for the level of sexual activity are being taken into account, as to whether or not a person can be removed from the sex offenders registry. Now, some of their law enforcement were stating that it was becoming too unwieldy because the sex offenders registry had become so large. But here's my problem with that idea. We live in an age of serious data mining. A competent programmer, which California has Silicon Valley full of competent programmers, could create necessary indice relations that would allow you to use the database quickly, effectively, and at the push of a button. The size of the registry is nowhere near large enough to cause a problem if they updated their software. I mean, we're only talking a couple of 100,000 registered sex offenders in the state of California. Amazon's database for their product sales is 100 times greater than that, easily. And people can easily find things on it. So why are they removing people who could be actual predators and not allowing them to be easily accessible and searchable to the public? Well, I just wanted to bring this to your attention that the state of Commiefornia is continuing to push ever closer into its pseudo-Marxist utopia that will crash and burn, as well as bring forward the ideas that big government comes up with. Once again, thank you all for joining me. Please don't forget to upvote and follow me on VidMe, or thumbs up and subscribe on BitChute, like and subscribe on YouTube. Come on over to Patreon, catch me on Minds, Twitter, or Gab.ai. I'm also on Pinterest now. Thank you all, and have yourselves a great day.